He's a guy that's coming up, trying to prove himself. He's been calling my name for years.
If rematch don't, you know what I'm saying, happen, we gonna run it.
Gotcha. The reason why I say this fight needs to happen again because both fighters have something to prove. I just saw a tweet from Gervonta Tank Davis saying that he was going to activate the rematch.
The rematch between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach is reportedly in motion, and the heat is already rising. During a live interview, things quickly escalated when Davis snapped at Roach, making it crystal clear that revenge is his only focus. It's part of boxing, Davis said, brushing off the intensity, but his body language told a different story. This is personal now.
If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it, but after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye.
For Lamont Roach, this rematch isn't just another fight, it's a once-in-a-lifetime shot to cement his legacy by toppling a champion like Tank Davis. Roach has been loud and relentless in calling for this second bout, knowing it's his golden opportunity to shock the world. The rematch is tentatively set for June 21st in Las Vegas, a date that's already sending ripples through the boxing community. Both fighters are locked in, both corners are preparing for war, and the entire sport is waiting with bated breath to see this explosive showdown unfold.
So the Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach rematch is being targeted for June 21st in Las Vegas. Now it's good that they're running it back without wasting any time because Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. I mean, I thought he outboxed Tank the last time around. He came up a division as a gigantic 10-1 underdog. And he was the one on the front foot, landing his jab, the body shots, the combinations, throwing a lot more volume. I had it 7-5 Roach, and the no knockdown in round 9 was the reason it was a draw. If that knockdown was scored, that would have been a decision for Roach. But with all that being said, I do like Tank a lot more in the rematch. I thought he fought way too much on the back foot in the first fight, especially the first few rounds. He would land 1 or 2 punches per round. But as he started becoming the aggressor in the later rounds, he kept landing a lot more left hands and body shots. So Tank just needs to make this a dogfight, get into more exchanges, and that's where he'll land a lot more punches on Roach. When he's sitting on the back foot waiting for a counter, that's where Roach is comfortable and winning most of the rounds. So if Tank can fight the same way he did against Ryan Garcia, rounds 3 to 7, against Mario Barrios in the later rounds, or Frank Martin rounds 4 to 8, if he's the one on the front foot, then I do think he'll stop Roach in the rematch.
One major sticking point heading into the rematch is Roach's firm refusal to allow Steve Willis to officiate the fight. The first bout was clouded in controversy after Willis failed to count a critical moment when Davis appeared to take a knee. That single non-call shifted the entire narrative of the fight. Roach's camp and many fans believe that if the correct ruling had been made, the outcome could have been drastically different. Now, Roach is making sure that mistake won't happen again. He wants neutral officiating, and he's not backing down.
The part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, that was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But 2 is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it, but after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
but you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fucking around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref. You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops is a no?
Hell no.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know how many
put Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fight up though. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like, who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating like that, but like, he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that. Right. That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. usually the ref will be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
The moment when Davis took a knee but wasn't given a knockdown remains one of the most debated calls in recent boxing history. Analysts, fans, and insiders have dissected it from every angle, and the consensus is clear: something went wrong that night. Roach and his team firmly believe that moment would have swung the fight in their favor had the rules been properly enforced. That's why the rematch holds so much weight. It's not just about titles, it's about correcting the record and settling the score for good. Roach has already proven he belongs in the ring with Tank Davis, and now he's coming back to finish what he started.
Got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? That is it. Lamont, please say that in the second fight. Any questions? You got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? Like, you got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? Like, hey, bruh, be on that. Because here's the thing. He never hurt Roach. Roach just waited. And Roach was squared up and turned sideways. And I'm like, oh my God. I didn't think he had that. He was like, I'm like, oh my. And then he just sitting there like, you can't. I know what you're going to do because I've trained with you since we were kids. Tarver beat Roy, but he knew Roy since amateurs. Roy said he never liked fighting sparring partners because they know you so well. I should have listened to Roy.
Tank Davis isn't wasting time either. He's pushing for the rematch to happen as soon as possible, with May originally floated as a potential date. Davis knows his reputation is on the line after the controversial draw. He's eager to prove to everyone, fans, critics, and the boxing world, that he is unquestionably the superior fighter. For Davis, this is more than just another fight, it's a chance to erase doubt and reclaim his dominance in the most emphatic way possible.
We gotta talk about it. So, Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw. Whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else, and that is the hairstylist situation. My humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. There was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing is going to look at that like, I don't want to break my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims. There are always receipts that no one needed to ask for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. Who cares? Who cares? I'm not even believe it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? Let me know.
Before that first fight, Lamont Roach wasn't seen as a legitimate threat to Tank Davis. But that perception shattered the moment the bell rang. Roach showed the world that he could stand toe-to-toe with one of boxing's most feared knockout artists, and it changed everything. Even Stephen A. Smith admitted he had completely underestimated Roach. Smith expected a Tank Davis knockout but walked away stunned by Roach's resilience, tactical sharpness, and mental toughness. Roach didn't just survive, he made people pay attention.
I expected to see a knockout. I expected to see it come at the hands of Gervonta Tank Davis against a dude that I thought was undersized, that I thought was not on the same level. And my God, was I wrong. So I thought it was apropos that on this particular day, more than a week after Lamont Roach showed up at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, and let everybody know, yo, I'm no joke either. Y'all don't know who the hell I am. I'm here to reintroduce him to the world. A guy that many believe should be the lightweight champion of the world in the sport of boxing. The one and only Lamont Roach joins me right.
A rematch between Davis and Roach now feels inevitable. Tank himself has gone on record saying he's open to running it back. The only question is whether this will be Tank's very next fight or if he'll face another challenger first. Either way, the public demand is undeniable. Fans want this rematch immediately. They want a definitive answer to the questions left hanging after the first fight. When it comes to how Roach can improve in the rematch, experts agree he fought an almost perfect fight the first time, but there's still room to level up. In a packed arena filled with nearly 20,000 fans, most of them rooting against him, Roach delivered under enormous pressure.
The team right back. I'm believing him. I didn't see him hurt or anything like that. I get that part. I saw him hurt when he got popped with a counter from Lamont Roach and he stumbled backwards because he got hit with a shot while throwing a punch in an earlier round. So I'm certainly not going to do that. Here's the important point to mention. All of us got to stand down and give Lamont Roach an apology. I thought that brother was going to get beat down because I saw a dude that was a bantamweight champion. I said, why are you moving up to fight this guy? Why is Gervonta Davis taking this fight? This guy's too small. What the hell is going on? He was a featherweight champion. You're a lightweight. What the hell is going on? Why would you take that fight? I didn't understand it. What I didn't know is that once Lamont Roach stepped into the ring, he would be the bigger fighter. What I didn't know is that once he was in the ring and he looked like the bigger fighter, he fought like the bigger fighter because, ladies and gentlemen, from opening bell, he walked right to Gervonta Davis. Walked right to him and stayed in his face all night long. If he backed up at all, ladies and gentlemen, it was 5% of the...
A rematch between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach seems almost inevitable at this point, especially with Tank himself openly expressing interest in settling the score. However, there's still uncertainty about whether Roach will be Tank's next opponent. Davis has other names in his crosshairs and may choose to pursue a different matchup first, perhaps to re-establish dominance or to chase a new challenge before circling back to Roach. Either way, the boxing world is watching closely to see which path Davis chooses.
That's a wilding like usual, right?
Yeah.
The rematch, he'll be able to prove himself. I don't really believe there was a reason to call out a knockdown if you don't call Roach should have knocked down as well. They both was on the knee, pause. They both took a knee. So cancel each other's out. It's either both are knockdowns or none. And neither are. So what we talking about?
Nah, they definitely hate Tank. That part is a fact.
Nah,
I don't. I'm saying
not
in
saying
general.
us.
In general.
I'm just saying like couldn't wait.
He got to Mayweather level where people hate him.
We do well enough. People look for you to.
Yeah,
that's good.
Success breeds that. When you
that's a fact.
Either they love you or they hate you. It's no in between. No longer indifferent for you because everyone knows you.
Coach Bernie has been vocal about what Lamont Roach needs to fine-tune heading into the potential rematch. While Bernie praised Roach's grit and skill in the first fight, he pointed out key moments where Roach could have pressed the gas pedal harder. According to Bernie, Roach left opportunities on the table by not being more aggressive when Tank showed brief windows of vulnerability. In the rematch, Bernie wants Roach to tighten his offense and apply more sustained pressure.
Dimitri, but he did good. Lamont Roach, but only thing, like I say, if he gonna go back and wish he threw his hands more, he might start getting mad at himself and realize that he when he watches the fight, it feel good to hear everybody say that, but when you go watch the fight and you realize, I let him slide too much. Like even the last round, he's standing there posing, looking at the man like and then he got caught with a jab. That wasn't good.
So, you talked about the takeaways of how Lamont could be better in the rematch.
Renowned commentator Joe Rogan weighed in on one of the most debated moments of the fight, Tank Davis taking a knee in the 9th round. Rogan didn't mince words. He argued that when a fighter voluntarily takes a knee, it should always be ruled a knockdown, no matter the circumstance. His commentary has reignited the already heated discussion surrounding the referee's decision to let the moment slide. Rogan's take has added fresh fuel to the controversy and pushed more fans and analysts to question whether the original call was a mistake that changed the fight's outcome.
It was trash.
Well, I thought it was a good fight. You didn't think
great fight, but I just champion guy taking a knee, talking about greasing his hair.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm like, yo, how you just in the middle of the fight just go wipe your face?
Also, here's the deal. If you take a knee, that's a knockdown.
That's a knockdown. So track 2, right?
You got hit with a jab.
Yeah.
You took a knee.
And then you walked off.
Exactly. That is a knockdown.
Yeah.
So I think they're reviewing that right now.
No, that guy should have lost maybe.
Well, I feel like if they do review it and they do judge it as a knockdown, which it was clearly a knockdown to
Sure it's a
everybody,
knockdown.
you take a knee, that's a knockdown. I
walk
think
off and
they will probably give it to Lamont.
This is a very interesting rule. They have a power slap that kind of talks about what you guys are just.
Many boxing insiders, analysts, and former pros now believe that if the rematch happens, Lamont Roach could actually have the edge. His performance in the first bout cracked open some of the perceived invincibility around Tank Davis. Roach's sharp counterpunching, his movement, and his ability to control pockets of the fight exposed holes in Davis's game plan. If Roach can build on what he learned and exploit those same weaknesses with more aggression, there's a growing belief he could walk away victorious.
Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach is staying as a draw, which is bullshit because Gervonta Davis obviously took a knee and it should have been called out as a knockdown, but it wasn't. But this just means that Lamont Roach is going to take Gervonta Davis in the rematch, unless Gervonta Davis ducks the rematch with Lamont Roach because he knows he's going to get his ass whooped once again.
If I get touched, I'm coming on that ass.
Interestingly, Davis's own trainer admitted they knew exactly how dangerous Roach was before the fight. He confirmed their original strategy was carefully planned and not the result of miscalculation. This suggests that Davis's camp may not plan any drastic adjustments for the rematch. Instead, they believe their original blueprint was solid, they just need sharper execution. This confidence in their initial game plan signals that the rematch could hinge more on who performs cleaner under pressure rather than who brings a better strategy.
By Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, that they don't exist. There's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
Speaking of rematches, Jalil Hackett is getting his opportunity again to fight the guy that he had a controversial loss to. It'll be happening in Florida, I think, next week?
March 15th, I think.
Let's talk about
I'm rocking a major shirt now.
Major.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how's that rematch look like, and then what's the difference makers coming into this fight?
The first fight, I thought, everybody thought Jalil won. We just got to turn, hit the gears a little harder. We ain't really got to change too much. Just got to put the icing on the cake, Put the icing on the cake this time, that's all. He did enough to win the last fight, but we was in somebody else's territory,
This time around, being in Florida, do you feel like it's a mutual zone?
Yeah. It's more of an even playing field in Florida.
Okay. Do you feel like he needs a stoppage to win the fight due to what happened the first time?
Not necessarily. A stoppage is good, but not necessarily.
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult added a fascinating layer to the knee incident. He proposed that Tank Davis may have deliberately taken a knee not out of pain or desperation, but as a strategic move to disrupt Roach's building momentum. If true, it reframes the moment not as a lapse in toughness but as a veteran's chess move to reset the fight's pace. Showbiz's perspective has sparked new debates about whether the knee was tactical brilliance or a sign of trouble.
Gervonta doing this shows that it wasn't an outside strange occurrence, that it may just be a part of his DNA. For him to get hit in amateurs and then take a step back and take a knee when he obviously wasn't hurt, it just shows to me that instead of gritting it out, all right, and possibly get knocked out or taking those chances, he'd rather take a knee to disrupt the momentum and then start over. That's how I'm taking it. It could be a great strategy, or it can be the bully complex. That when you meet somebody and they're not fearing you, or they're not retreating or backing away from you, and they're showing poise and the ability to withstand your output and give some back. Like any book, they kind of
The first fight left the boxing world split right down the middle. Fans, experts, and insiders remain divided on who really deserved the win that night. A second fight is now not just a rematch, it's a necessary resolution. Both fighters have everything to gain and everything to lose. This bout won't just settle a rivalry, it has the potential to define their careers and rewrite the narrative for both men. All eyes are now on whether this next chapter will deliver the clarity everyone's waiting for.
The reason why I say this fight needs to happen again because both fighters have something to prove. I just saw a tweet from Gervonta Tank Davis saying that he was going to activate the rematch. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Would I like to see this fight happen? Yes, I would like to see a fight happen again because I think that the next fight is going to be a whole lot better. And I think the next fight is going to end with somebody being on the canvas, in my opinion. But I think that Lamont Roach, I want to give a shout out to Lamont Roach for putting up such a amazing performance. We never seen anyone stand there toe-to-toe with Gervonta Tank Davis. We never seen anyone there throwing punches, power punches, at Tank Davis and not being knocked out. And I also want to commend Tank because Tank didn't have to take this.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned, this story is far from over.